lines across the ocean to the
This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. From Emolga Chairman, Lord's commissioning of Doctors' Lounge. Geometric Management speaks on Aba Power Plant. Senate plans meeting with Tinubu over killings in Benue. EFCC arrests suspected food smugglers over economic hardship. Bangladesh teacher suspended for shooting student in exam. Chelsea plans to sell top players over Osimhen's arrival. Singer Kiss Daniel says he's married. And now, the news in details. Chairman of Emoha Local Government Council, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, has applauded the commissioning of the primary health care and doctor's lounge by Professor Kini Kanwo Green in Emoha Local Government area of the state. The fully funded capacity health facility, Chidi Lloyd said, is targeted at the maximum provision of health care to both indigents and residents of Emoha Local Government area and its environs. Speaking, the council chairman, Honorable Chidi Lloyd, said the facility was born out of constant consultation and collaboration with both the Indigents and Health Management Board in order to provide the needs and standard required for a health care structure.
So, MO, primary health care, annex and doctors' lounge. This facility is built by the management of the council under the leadership of Sir Chidi Julius Lloyd.
What you see here today was as a result of constant consultation with the end users of the facility. We didn't just come out to build. You are building for people who will use it. So when we conceived the idea, we worked with the board to ensure that we capture everything that is here. Why are we doing all this? It will also affect output. When a man is comfortable, the environment where he or she is working is comfortable, it definitely would affect output. And all of what we've done, yes, you came in and it was as if there was no change in pattern in the board because of the relationship the council still enjoys with. All of what we have achieved today was as a result of a robust collaboration between the council
Iwere Leaders Foundation have charged the Inspector General of Police to fish out suspects who attacked Olu of Warri Ogaime Atuwatse III at Okere community in Warri South local government area of Delta State last Saturday. While condemning the attack, they said the attack by a group of youths on the monarch was uncalled for at an emergency meeting of the UILF in Warri, Delta State, while a member of the publicity committee of the foundation, Honorable Emmanuel Orubo, who made the position known after the meeting, called on young people of Warri Kingdom to get engaged in fruitful ventures with a view to reducing the temptation of being susceptible to restiveness and usage by disgruntled elements in the society. He also said the people support His Majesty Ogiame Atuwate III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, who remains a pride not just to Warri Kingdom, but to Delta State and Nigeria in general, and called for respect for the rule of law and the traditional institution. Meanwhile, suspects have been arrested and arraigned in court over the attack on the Olu of Warri, and the matter adjourned to 2nd April 2024, while the 4 defendants have been remanded at the Warri Correctional Facility. Popular socio-political activist and a chieftain of the Labour Party, Tufu, has probed the Edo State government for allegedly failing to tackle the security crisis facing the state. Aisha, who stated this in a post on her verified X handle while reacting to the killing of a female farmer in the state, said women in Etsako West are no longer interested in going to farm due to fear of either being raped or killed by the bloodthirsty assailants. She accused the state government of being distracted with policies that can be deciphered by experts. Edo House of Assembly has commenced impeachment proceedings against the State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu. The Assembly accused the Deputy Governor of perjury and leaking the government's secrets, and the impeachment notice is believed to be the latest development in the rift between Shaibu and his principal governor, Godwin Obaseki. There had been an uneasy calm between the Deputy Governor and the Governor last year when Shaibu declared his interest to join this year's Edo governorship race. Obaseki is believed to be supporting a former chairman of Sterling Bank, Asuel Ighodalo, who has now emerged as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the September 21st, 2024 poll. And Ighodalo defeated Shaibu and 9 other aspirants at the governorship primary conducted on February 22nd at the Samuel Obemudia Stadium in Benin. Though Shaibu boycotted the primary and was declared the winner at a parallel primary, the PDP national leadership failed to recognize him and has since issued Ighodalo a certificate of return as the valid winner of the party. The Speaker of the House, Blessing Agbebaku, who acknowledged receipt of the petition, directed the Clerk of the House, Yahaya Omogbai, to serve the impeachment notice on the Deputy Governor, and the Deputy Governor has only 7 days to respond to the notice of impeachment. Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a no-case submission by the suspended Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Calabar, Professor Cyril Ndifon, and his lawyer, Sonny Ayaun. The professor is currently standing trial on 4 amended counts of alleged sexual harassment and gratification preferred against him by the Independent Corrupt Practices and other related offences commission, while his lawyer, Ayawu, was alleged to have harassed the ICPC's star witness, but the commission, in opposition, filed a counter affidavit on February 23rd, praying the court to dismiss the application, while Justice James Omotosho, in a ruling, held that the evidence led by the prosecution constituted a prima facie case against the defendants and ordered Ndifon, the suspended dean, and Ayawu to enter their defense. The judge, however, said that holding that a prima facie case has not been established does not necessarily imply that the court finds the defendants guilty of the charge. The matter was adjourned until March 12 for the defendants to enter a defense, while Omotosho also accepted Senator Victor Ndoma Egba and Okone Fort SAN as sureties for the bail earlier granted to Ndifon. Management of Geometric Power Plant Aba in Abia State has clarified the controversy surrounding Abia State government's alleged 5% equity stake in the project. Spokesman of Aba Power Limited, Mr. Chijoke Obodo, in a statement said the Abia State government has 3.5% equity in the $800 million plant. Ogbodo spoke against the background of the controversy between aides of former Governor Okezi Ikpeazu and the incumbent Governor Alex Oti over the actual equity stake of the state government in the project, contradicting their earlier statement of no equity for Abia State government in the plant. This is coming after the immediate past Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Chief John Oki Kalu, had claimed in a statement that Ikpeazu's administration invested 5% equity in the project, while Governor Oti's media advisor, Mr. Ferdinand Ekoma, said that the incumbent governor has no evidence before him to authenticate his claims. Enugu State Internal Revenue Service has sued Enugu ShopRite and Spar supermarkets over non-remittances of purchase tax from their malls to the government. A statement issued by the service after an enforcement drive, the affected malls and stores were accused of refusing to remit, withholding purchase taxes despite being served several warning notices. The statement, signed by the spokesperson of the service, Nnamdi Ene, said Enugu State Internal Revenue Service officials also among others, for the same offense, adding that the tax the government is demanding from the malls, stores and businesses is the purchase tax paid by buyers on goods purchased whenever they patronize the outlets. He added that they have also pleaded with individuals to be remitting their taxes when due, but they have been recalcitrant and still have not done anything concerning these instructions, stressing that the malls would remain closed until the issues at hand are resolved. Meanwhile, Ene explained that the agency had gone on air to enlighten and educate the people on the need to remit their taxes. Lagos Road users have expressed their frustration over the closure of the third mainland bridge after being trapped in traffic for hours. The Lagos state government said Island Yana bound lane of the third mainland bridge would be shut for 36 hours. Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Osiemi, in a statement said the closure of the Island Iana Oworo bound lane would take effect from Wednesday till Thursday, March 7, 2024, and consequently, motorists plying this route were advised to use the alternative routes previously provided during this period. He also said the initial traffic diversions on the bridge will return after this 36-hour closure and had a hectic time connecting back to their destination due to the traffic congestion along the alternative routes. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Olukorede Kisha, on October 2023 reviewed plans for a comprehensive overhaul of the bridge's asphalt layers. Lagos State Police Command and the National Emergency Management Agency have placed their operatives on red alert against any attack on warehouses and shopping malls. The State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Benjamin Hondane, who confirmed, said the command had intensified security around the different shops and government warehouses with food items in the state to prevent possible attack by hoodlums. This is coming after a warehouse belonging to the Federal Capital Territory Department of Agriculture was broken into by hoodlums in the Bari Area Council. Hondane said the command was living up to its responsibility of providing security to all and sundry in Lagos, noting that the command was not anticipating any such attack, stressing that the deployment was just to check acts of violence in the state. Meanwhile, NEMA in the Southwest region said its management had beefed up security around their warehouses, while the coordinator of NEMA in the Southwest Zone, Mr. Ibrahim Farinloye, said the move is to forestall any attack on government warehouses by miscreants who may want to hide under the cover of the current challenge in the country to break into facilities where food items are stored. Resident doctors under the aegis of the Association of Resident Doctors University College Hospital, Ibadan, in Oyo State, have commenced a 3-day strike over alleged assault on one of their members by relatives of a patient in the hospital. The Association of Resident Doctors, President John Oladapo in Ibadan, said the doctors were demanding a public apology from the people who were assaulted as well as inflicted injuries on him. Oladapo said one of our members was the target of a deliberate, premeditated, planned rage and furious assault by a patient's relations, said the doctor. The doctor was seeing a known sickle cell patient in painful crisis in the emergency department when the two men accosted him in the consulting room and started beating him up. The president therefore called on the University College Hospital management to improve its security architecture to avoid future occurrences in the hospital. Nigerian Navy has destroyed an illegal refinery at Aboye, a riverine community in Ilaje local government area of Ondo State. The commander, forward operating base, Igbo Koda Captain Wasuku Alushi, who disclosed this, said the action was part of the Navy's activities such as kidnapping, crude oil theft, and illegal bunkering. Alushi said the forward operation base launched an operation 2 weeks ago into the clear riverine areas of Ondo of criminal elements, adding that aerial intelligence was received during that operation on the illegal refinery. Court of Appeal in Abuja has set aside the judgment of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, which restrained Julius Abure and 2 others from parading themselves as national officers of the Labour Party. This is coming after Justice Hamza Mauzu of the FCT High Court had ruling on an ex parte application of April 5, 2023, had restrained Farouk Ibrahim, Clement Ojukwu, and Oluchi Opara from acting as national officers of the Labour Party, while the suit was filed by Martins Esikbali John and others. They accused Abure and others of forging several documents of the FCT High Court to carry out unlawful substitutions in the last elections, and through their lawyer, Alex Idesime, filed a preliminary objection contending that an allegation of forgery against them could not be brought before court by way of an originating summons. They also contended that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the case because the plaintiffs were not members of the LP and therefore lacked locus standi to file the suit, while in a ruling on May 12, 2023, Justice Marzu dismissed their preliminary objection and affirmed jurisdiction to hear the matter, and displeased, Abure and others approached the Court of Appeal, which in a judgment set aside Justice Marzu's verdict and restored Abure and others as LP national officers. The appellate court, in the lead judgment read by Justice Hama Baka, held that Justice Marzu was wrong to have assumed jurisdiction on the matter, and also held that the lower court was wrong to interfere in the internal affairs of the political party. He also faulted the lower court for allowing the matter to be brought through an originating summon, while Justice Barker also awarded 1 million naira in favor of Abure and others. Senators will meet with President Bola Tinubu over the insecurity in Benue State and Nigeria at large. The resolution of the Senate followed the report of a militia clash in Benue State, which dead. The motion was brought by Senator Emmanuel Odende, representing Benue Northeast, on the matters of urgent public importance pursuant to Orders 41 and 51 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended. Odende, in his lead debate, said that over 50 residents of the Logo and Castina Ala area of the state were killed by men who disguised as herders to unleash havoc in the communities. The lawmaker, representing Ukum State constituency in the House of Assembly, Congo Ezra, said about 20 people were killed, while the force commander, Operation World Stroke, Major General Sunday Ibinowanya, confirmed that 30 people were killed in the clash. Benue State government has set up a management team that would oversee the affairs of the recently established Benue Public Service Institute. The state government disclosed this in a statement issued in Makodi by Governor Hyacinth Alia's Chief Press Secretary Tesu Kula. This is coming after Benue State Executive Council had on January 10th approved the establishment of BPSI to serve as a training center for civil servants in the state. This is coming after Governor Alia approved the appointment of Professor Tekura Tanande as Director General, while S.I. Shimave is Director of Programs and Cecilia Ohemu, Director of Administration and Finance, while Dr. Mark Yitse is Director of Research and Documentation, and Mr. Moses Ode as the Institute's librarian. The statement also said the responsibility of the BPSI is to help develop Benue civil servants through strategic capacity building programs. You are watching Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a battle.
This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now the rest of our stories. Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia says the 14-day ultimatum given to herdsmen who are engaged in open grazing has elapsed. He declared that now is time for the full implementation of the anti-open grazing law by the security agencies in the state. The governor, who disclosed this at the Old Banquet Hall of Government House, Makurdi, was represented by his deputy, Dr. Sam Mode, that the State Security Council took the decision following the large influx of herders into the state. He also said in the course of the 14-day ultimatum, the Security Council had monitored the activities of the armed headsmen and studied the report of a 7-man committee headed by the Force Commander of Operation Moral Stroke in the state and expressed the Council's satisfaction in this report while emphasizing particular groups of persons. The government, however, warned that anyone who was in contravention of the law, regardless of whoever, would be prosecuted, disclosing that over the last 2 weeks there had been a peaceful withdrawal of the most in the herders in the state. Also in his remarks, the Commissioner of Justice and Public Order, Barrister Fidelis Inyim, explained that whoever wanted to rear cattle in the state must ranch their cattle, as the Anti-Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law of 2017 was still in force in the state, and anyone caught in the act of open grazing would face the full wrath of the law. Suspected bandits have allegedly killed a former general manager of Jigawa State Housing Authority, Babangida Abubakar Sadiq, and 2 others. Eyewitness said the incident occurred in Yawanda Mai Road while the ex-government official was en route Benin Kudu, his hometown, after leaving his farm in Duste. According to the source, late Babangida was coming back from Duste and branched to a village near Yawanda Mai to see his people who are working in his farm. He also said Babangida and others were taken to the Federal Medical Center Benin Kudu and confirmed dead by a medical doctor, and the police public relations officer, DSP Lawan Shisu, had confirmed the incident, stating that efforts are underway to apprehend the culprits. Kano State Ministry of Health has denied any outbreak of measles in Kano Municipal Local Government area. A statement issued by the ministry's Director of Public Health and Disease Control, Dr. Imam Wada Bello, denied the report, adding that authorities at Kano Municipal Local Government Council in Kano State had confirmed an outbreak of measles in some parts of the local government area. The area's primary health care coordinator, Aliyu Jinjiri Kiru, who disclosed this during a meeting of the Emergency Preparedness Committee at the local government secretariat, said that before declaring an outbreak, certain procedures and indices are considered, including laboratory investigations and tests, as well as assessment of the severity of the disease and the number of people affected, and none of these procedures have been out to warrant the declaration of measles outbreak. He urged the people to disregard the report as it lacked empirical and clinical evidence to substantiate it, adding that the ministry was very vigilant on all public diseases that wreaked havoc on the lives of the people by taking all necessary measures to contain the effects of such diseases. He also said the ministry and its 44 local government areas emergency preparedness response are on the alert to respond to outbreaks in a timely manner in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. People's Democratic Party has constituted an 11-member caretaker committee to manage its affairs in Kano State. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary, Honorable Debo Ologunaba, said Alhaji Mai Adamu Mustafa would serve as chairman of the committee, while Ibrahim A. Danila, Professor Muntari Y. Banana, and others are members, while Barrister Baba Lawal Aliyu is secretary. The National Working Committee urges all leaders, critical stakeholders, and teaming members of PDP in Kano State to remain united and continue to work together for the progress of the party in the state. 14th Emir of Kano State, Mohammed Sanusi, has recounted how the late Chief Executive Officer of Access Bank PLC, Dr. Herbert Wigwe, came to his rescue after he was dethroned and had to leave the state. Sanusi, who disclosed this, known as the continuation of the Night of Tributes organized in Wigwe's Lagos, also recounting his sojourn with the late Wigwe Sanusi, who broke down in tears thrice, and also recalled how the late banker came to his rescue when he was dethroned and needed a place for him and his family to stay. Sanusi also recalled how he entrusted his life savings to Wigwe. He was comforted by Abia State Governor Alex Oti, AIG Imokude, and an aide as a result of his failure to control the tears which continued to flow from his eyes, adding that because of the level of kindness Wigwe accorded him, many believed he owned Access Bank. All Progressives Congress says it will take legal actions against the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, and the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Gabriel Dewan, over their refusal to abide by the verdict of the Court of Appeal to swear in 16 duly elected members. The party warned that it is running out of patience, and will no longer allow them to continue the unlawful and illegal acts, saying that the party will not allow the legislative rascality of the Speaker to go unchallenged, threatening that enough is enough. The National Working Committee of APC reached a decision that at its weekly meeting in Abuja, and after the meeting, the National Vice Chairman, Honorable Isaacs Kikemeke, said the party will ensure the enforcement of the decision of the Court of Appeal, being the last court for the election. He said the Court of Appeal has affirmed its decision to sanction the illegality of the Speaker of Plateau State House of Assembly, PDP, and the Governor for attempting to review that decision. The ruling party called on the Attorney General of the Federation, the Inspector General of Police, and all other law enforcement agencies to enforce the final decision of the Court of Appeal. Nigerian students studying in Russia, Morocco, Algeria, China, Hungary, and other countries on the federal government's scholarship are weeping over their unpaid stipends for 8 months running. The students are studying under the federal government's bilateral educational agreement scholarship, while the BEA scholarship is for the purpose of election exchange between Nigeria and the partnering countries, and the scholarship scheme is being supervised by the Federal Scholarship Board under the Federal Ministry of Education. A statement by the President of the Union of Nigerian Students under the federal government-controlled bilateral educational agreement scholarship, Ayuba Anas, said the scholars had not been paid for close to 8 months and implored the federal government to recognize their plight and take immediate action to elevate their suffering. Federal government says the recovery process from beneficiaries of the Nigeria Education Loan Scheme will commence 2 years after the National Youth Service Scheme. Executive Secretary NEL Fund Dr. Akin Tunde Sawyer, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the reason for the 2-year grace after NYSC was to afford the beneficiaries enough time to get a job or be stable before the repayment. Sawyer also said the modalities of how the money would be routed were still being worked out, but the employer would be obliged to make those deductions work for as long as that person is at work. While for those who might want to deliberately circumvent the process of repayment, Sawyer said there must be a way the law will catch up with them, and it could be achieved whenever the defaulters need to access loans or any facilities from commercial banks. of the Federal High Court in Abuja has struck out a suit instituted by the People's Democratic Party against former President Muhammadu Buhari on the disputed Section 84(12) of the 2022 Electoral Act. This is coming after PDP had dragged Buhari before the court, challenging his directive made in 2023 to the National Assembly to delete Section 84 of the 2022 Electoral Act, while the complaint of PDP then was that Buhari no longer had to delete the section of the law after he had assented to the Electoral Act. However, counsel to Buhari, Abimbola Akintola, told the court that a Supreme Court decision being awaited in respect of the PDP suit had not been decided, and Akintola, who represented Oladipupo Okbaseyi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, informed the court that the PDP had abandoned the suit due to its persistent absence in court. The lawyer drew the attention of Justice Eko to the November 23, 2023 proceeding when the matter was called, and neither PDP nor its lawyers appeared before the court, and no explanation was offered, and further hinted the judge that at Thursday's proceedings, PDP and its team of lawyers also did not appear in court and offered no excuses. The counsel then applied that the suit be struck out pending the time the party will wake up to prosecute its case, and due to no objections from other parties in the suit, Justice Eko struck out the matter for want of diligent prosecution. Nigeria Police Force has paraded 11 suspects arrested by its intelligence response team operatives over alleged involvement in one chance robbery in Abuja. The Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumu Yiwa Dejobi, while parading the suspects and other suspected criminal gangs involved in kidnapping, robbery, gun running in Abuja, also apprehended one Joseph Zico, who has been fabricating guns since 2019 and has fabricated 19 pistols. Correspondent Rotimi Adewiyi reports. House of Representatives.
Sunday Ekwo, a driver of one chance car. Their route is within Bagwalada Area 1, AYA Giri and Wuse axis of the FCT. The suspect, along with his gang members, target phones of their victims with operation tactics of shifting chair. He and his member, having been in a car, 4 persons at the back and 1 at the front, looks for a victim who will sit in front alongside the 5th member who is seated at the front seat. In the process of shifting the chair to accommodate the victim, his phone is being taken, or they render help to hold the bag of a female victim whose phone is taken out of the bag. According to the first PRO, police operative immediately traced the criminals upon intelligence and arrested them at their hideout in Karimo area of the FCT.
Yes, it's a...
How do you do it? Use the mic very well, don't worry. We go sanitize them.
We carry a passenger. We carry one person. One
house, please.
4 at the back. So the next person will enter the front car. When they enter the front car, they will now ask you to shift they will adjust the seat to the front. So when the 2 people are sitting on the seat, their leg will be touching the dashboard. Then the driver will say you should shift the seat, go back so that they will be balanced for the seat. So on the way shifting the chair, maybe you will ask the woman, let me help you and hold your back so that you can shift the chair very well. So on the process, we remove the phone. So that is what we do.
Yes, how did you get the vehicle?
I purchased and collected, sir.
I purchased?
Yes, sir.
From who?
The man no, is not alive again. We have accident to die.
The man is not alive again. The man don't die. So are you paying to the family or to the company?
No, I was already pay finish before they even get out.
You don't pay finish. How did you pay? Instrumentally?
So now the work I use pay, I will not lie, sir.
Oh, now this work?
Yes, sir.
Divine Afoke is involved in defrauding her neighbor and close friend of the sum amounting to 24 million naira. She collected money in the guise of investment, and when she could not pay back, she finds a way to send her defrauded persons out of town under the guise of them being on the watch of the list of kidnappers.
I took it at first for the purpose of business, but since it didn't work out, I didn't know what to do again.
So you actually now did that so that he can run away, so that you will not remember the money again. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Is that good enough?
It's not good, sir.
As a Nigerian, as an African man, why must you do that to your neighbor and a family friend?
I'm sorry, sir.
Well, that's another lesson for all of us. Keep to your immediate family, not to look for friend up and down. Your wife, your children don't do you. If you get siblings, they do you. But this one, say my neighbor, my neighbor, my neighbor, my neighbor, everything my neighbor. I think you can see now.
He is not the only one that I started the business with. So I had to pay people that I had already promised interest.
Divine, we are talking of almost 30 million. What did you do with this money? Before you repay debt, what did you do with the money you got from them in the first instance? You cannot answer this question. You are building houses?
No.
What did you do with the money? Humanitarian service?
No.
House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Population to investigate the use of 200 billion naira meant for the suspended 2023 population and housing census. These resolutions followed the adoption of a motion titled Need to Investigate 200 billion naira spent on the suspended 2023 population and housing consensus, moved by Honorable Clement Akani, adding that census is a process of systematically collecting, compiling, and analyzing demographic, social, and economic data of a population within a specific region. The lawmaker recalled that the National Population Commission says it has spent about 200 billion to prepare for the 2023 population and housing census, and expressed worry that the exercise was, however, suspended by Muhammadu Buhari a few days before leaving office.
Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, said a total of 869 billion will be required for the exercise, and this figure, according to the minister, includes post-census activities. Also recalls that the National Population Commission says it has spent about 200 billion to prepare for the 2023 population and housing census. Recall that the National Population Census says it has spent 200 billion for the 2023 population and housing census. Disturbed that the exercise was, however, suspended indefinitely by former President Muhammadu Buhari a few days before leaving office, and concerned that the need to provide the nation with accurate and reliable demographic data for policy formulation and planning for sustainable development could not be overemphasized. Prime Minister of State for Budget and National Planning.
Honorable Clement Akani, the committee is expected to report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action, while in a related development, the House of Representatives has called on security agencies to free 300 women kidnapped in Borno State while fetching firewoods in the bush. Honorable Zainab Gimba from Borno State, who presented the matter in a motion on the floor of the House plenary as a matter of urgency, that over 300 women were kidnapped while fetching firewoods in the bush. According to Gimba, this is the second largest abduction after the Chibok girls' adoption by Boko Haram in April 2014.
Mr. Speaker, the motion is abduction of dozens of women and children in IDP camps in Gala, Borno State. The House knows the recent abduction of dozens of women and children in Gala, Borno State by the Boko Haram insurgents. Also knows that the abduction took place last Sunday the 3rd, when the women went to fetch firewood in the bush for domestic and commercial purposes. Further knows that while the women were fetching the firewood, they were surrounded by the insurgents in Bulabulchie village in the western part of Ngala town. Again, knows that the insurgents freed the old age but abducted about almost 300 evil young girls and boys. Aware that most of the abducted women were from Babban Sansani and some from Zulum and Arabic camps. Worried that lack of enough food in the camps has forced Honorable Ali Jesse approached the chair. In search of firewood to sell so as to complement the food being given to them. Honorable Madaki approached the chair. By the state government and some other development partners. Note that 3 girls escaped from the den of the insurgents, reported that they were taken to a bush close to Bunkar Mayram, the shores of the lake, bordering the
House of Representatives has urged the federal and state governments to provide comprehensive reforms of the country's correctional system, including modernizing centers, building new facilities, and redesigning the bail system. A motion by Honorable Chinedu Oga, representing Ebonyi State, on the urgent need to decongest Nigerian correctional services, said the Nigerian prison outline were mandated to reform, rehabilitate, and ensure effective and reintegration of offenders into society in line with universal accepted standards. Presenting the motion, the Honorable Oga expressed worry that over 70,000 inmates in the country face inadequate facilities despite government efforts, adding that some have not been charged with criminal cases, while some are unable to pay the fines imposed by the courts despite having their cases determined. He also said the Nigerian criminal justice system is plagued with flaws, with cases often lingering without resolution for years. There are several crowded in the correctional centers in various development. The House of Representatives has urged the Federal Ministry of Health to develop prescription policy that must be enforced to curb and lack of adherence to prescription policy in Nigeria. The decision followed the motion by Honorable Adamu Ibrahim Gamawa from Bauchi State, adding that the lack of a prescription policy on drug and indiscriminate drug sales by druggists, pharmacists, patent medicine dealers, and street vendors is staffed by unqualified personnel, which ultimately leads to antibiotic resistance and drug abuse. He said that according to the National Bureau of Statistics Nigeria, there is a frightening surge in the use of drug abuse and misuse in Nigeria, with drugs use prevalence statistics at 14.4% of productive age in Nigeria, 50 to 65 years of age, which almost 3 times the global use of drug prevalence, 5.5%. The motion also urged the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria as a matter of urgency close all illegal outlets of pharmaceutical products, including open drug markets, and ensure that only prescribed drugs are accessible to patients by qualified health practitioners in pharmaceutical outlets. House of Representatives has endorsed the introduction of security education in primary and secondary schools nationwide. The House said the move will equip young Nigerians with the knowledge required to identify threats to their safety and environment early in life. The House also said in an increasingly volatile society like Nigeria, investing in security education is essential to safeguard students' knowledge, skills, and awareness in security education empowers them to take preventive action. Following the adoption of the motion, the House urged the Federal Ministry of Education to ensure that security education is incorporated as a core subject in the primary and secondary school curricula, and also mandated the Committee on Basic Education and Services to ensure its implementation. And now to business news. Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edwin, has blamed the current inflation in the country on 8 years of printing money without matching it with Muhammadu Buhari. Edwin, who disclosed this during an interface with the Senate Committee on Finance, said during the period of naira and trillions was carried out without matching it with productivity. The finance minister reiterated the resolve of the federal government to audit the 22.7 trillion ways and means advance under former President Buhari's regime, adding that the consequence of the 8 years of printing money without productivity is high inflation confronting the country now.
We talked about the inflation, and you have helped to solve that. But where has it come from? It's come from 8 years of just printing money. And the issue is that that money was not matched by productivity. It's not like when you earn dollars and you bring the naira alongside it, although there's even a better way than that. But that's still not as bad. It's not as if the money is matched by productivity, increase in output. It is not. And what happened was that for 8 years, the weak were left to their own devices. It is the privileged few that took everything. That's the reality. So that money supply must be sucked back out to balance the economy. You, distinguished senators, have helped. You have given us the mandate to raise 7 trillion naira, which we will do by sucking money from the market, using to pay back the central bank and give the government a balanced books. We talked about the inflation, and you have helped to solve that.
In his closing remarks, the chairman of the committee, Senator Sani Musa, said the interactive session will be a continuous exercise in knowing the short-term and long-term plans of the government on its way out of the precarious situation.
People are given some They collect their salary, they collect their allowances, they collect their pardon anywhere they go. So it's very important, Mr. Minister, you look at that. And then the envelope budgeting, which one of us spoke about, you will see so many line items. It's continuous, it's just in the system. But from the budget office, they just roll it out and present it as a budget. There's need for us to seriously, not only you on that side, but even us here, to look at this. And this is the reason why we need to create the office, this budget office in national. It's very important. So with this, I think I will commend the Honorable Minister for being up to date with the situation about the economy. And also appeal to the Honorable Minister to work towards getting all people you are giving surplus to are the same people that are employed. They collect their salary, they collect their allowances, they collect their pardon anywhere they go. So it's very important.
The Commission has justified the interception and arrest of 21 trucks loaded with food items allegedly being smuggled into neighboring countries, describing it as economic sabotage. A statement in Abuja by the spokesperson of the Commission, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, Ace-1 Dele Oyewale, said the EFCC is saddled with the mandate of tackling all forms of economic and financial crimes, especially issues that directly affect the economy, to avert sabotage, and urged the public to commend and support the Commission for spreading its wings across the country. He also said the Commission is proactive and it is everywhere to ensure that the economy is revamped so that Nigerians can get optimum value and become proactive enough to tackle such international crimes. And now to international tidbits. Suspected leader behind the violence blighting the Haitian capital has warned there will be a civil war if Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry does not step down. Jimmy Barbecue Cherezier made the threat as members of his gang tried to seize the capital's airport to stop Mr. Henry from returning abroad. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, said the situation was beyond untenable and thousands of Haitians have had to flee, while aid groups said about 15,000 people, among them many young children, have been displaced from their homes in recent weeks. Turk said that since the beginning of the year, a staggering 1,193 people have been killed and 692 others injured by gang violence, and urged the international community to act swiftly and decisively to prevent Haiti's further descent into chaos. While the United States has called on Mr. Henry to expedite the transition, U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller has also urged the transition to prepare for a multinational security support mission and to pave the way for free and fair elections, while the United Nations Security Council said it would hold an emergency meeting later on Wednesday to discuss the violence. A lecturer in a medical school in Bangladesh has been suspended 2 days after allegedly shooting and injuring a student in a classroom. Raihan Sharif was arrested shortly afterwards, but was only suspended following a protest by students from the medical college where the incident took place. While the injured student has undergone surgery and remains in hospital, Dr. Sharif has been taken into police custody, and during the exam, Dr. Sharif allegedly brought out a gun and pointed it at the student, shooting him in the right knee, and the bullet reportedly hit Amin's mobile phone in the pocket of his trousers, which spared him life-threatening injuries. Dr. Sharif was then arrested and taken into custody. In a statement, police said Dr. Sharif shot the student with an illegal pistol, and they seized his gun, as well as a second pistol, 81 rounds of bullets, 4 magazines, 2 knives, and 10 daggers, which they reportedly found in his bag. And now to sports. Chelsea will have to allow some of their first teamers leave Stamford Bridge next summer in order to fund the acquisition of Napoli striker Victor Osimhen. Football Insider via Courts Offside reports of the Blues are close to breaching the financial fair play rules if they go on to sign Osimhen and the other targets if they fail to sell some of the stars. This is coming after the record-breaking signings of Moses Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez have put the Blues on the brink of violating the rules, while Napoli have recently announced that Osimhen has a release clause in the region of £130 million, 30 million euros, which means that Chelsea will need to take drastic actions if they are to sign their long-term targets. Mauricio Pochettino's side faces stiff competition from Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal in their bid to bring the Nigeria international to the Premier League. Chelsea are in dire need of a striker, and the 2023 CAF African Player of the Year is their first choice target, while the former Lille striker has scored 72 goals in 123 all competitions since joining the Serie A champions. And now to entertainment. Famous Nigerian singer Oluwatobiloba Daniel Anigbube, aka Kiss Daniel, says he is married. He disclosed this while humorously conversing with his fans on X platform and shared that his wife is a mix of Igbo and Wari. A female fan stated via the comment section that the singer's marriage won't last since she isn't the one he is married to. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Emolga Chairman Lord's commissioning of Doctors' Lounge. Speaks on Aba Power Plant. Senate plans meeting with Tinubu over killings in Benue. EFCC arrests suspected food smugglers over economic hardship. Bangladesh teacher suspended for shooting students in exam. Chelsea plans to sell top players over Osimhen's arrival. Singer Kiss Daniel says he is married. I am Valentina Lawrence. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on all our social media platforms: on X Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you. Have a good night.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis,